Good evening, Dylan. It is Wednesday, April 15th, 2015. Your last video, you were speaking kind of quietly for me, so I decided to turn on the subtitles to see what the YouTube captions, see if it would clarify what you're saying. As a note of entertainment, go ahead and try that sometime, because it does not line up with what you're saying, at least on your video, and now I know what I'm doing over the next couple of days is probably rewatching many of our videos with that little subtitle option turned on. Just for the, not quite the lulls, but the definitely interesting ways that the YouTube caption section is picking up what we're saying and mistranslating it. By the way, I noticed in your last video that it kind of aired after midnight. Since I'm pretty sure you're still in the time zone you were in a few weeks ago, and since we've pretty much started this, I think that means that your last video was late again as well. We are onto an amazing trend of being on time. Good thing our jobs don't depend on it. In your last video, you mentioned how, since the invention of writing, language drift seems to have paused or slowed down. While I got to agree with that, I'm not 100% sure how it has paused it or slowed it down. Yes, it has made that word forever unchanged in that current format of language, whether it's, with an actual alphabet as we understand it, or if it's with hieroglyphs, or any other form of expressing ideas and words in a written sense. But I don't think it stops the language from changing, it just slowed it down. It's no longer as dramatic as one generation speaking it and the next changing the way the word itself straight up sounds. You still have the words, you can still interpret them years down the road, 500, 1,000 years later, if the language is still alive and relatively unchanged. Like Latin, it's 2,000 years old, we can still read it because we've managed to keep its essence alive, essentially. And it hasn't really changed, mostly because we don't want it to change. But the English language, yeah, you can go back and read Shakespeare, but how much of it are you actually getting that was intended? How much of the root are you still extracting? Just because we can read it doesn't mean that we are actually getting the full meaning that they intended with that word or phrase or the language in general. And I think that is what I was striving for in my last video but didn't quite make clear. With that in mind, I wonder how much it also is changing, or how much our language is going to change in the future, thanks to texting and the internet and the ability to learn a language as it is spoken at this current point in time from the people that are speaking it thanks to the power of the internet. Is that going to slow down language drift even more? Or is that just going to give more people more reasons to try and accelerate it because they want to stand out from something that is basically making everybody, I don't want to say a global one or global single entity, but easily changing the way that language and identity are built and characterized. Anyway, Dylan, that's pretty much all I can think of for today. I guess I'll see you on Friday. Have a good one.